Hello, hello. You are so close and yet so far.
In the same time zone, at least.
Isn't that cool, right? Like that's super, super cool. I love that about what we have in the here and the now is this perfect of two fabulous friends manage to make it happen, right? Just managing to make it happen. I mean, you're next to a river, you were saying?
Yes, I'm in Montana, a place called Montana. It's pretty rural. It's beautiful. It's at foot of the Bear Mountains, Bear Mountain, Beartooth Mountain, and I'm visiting with an amazing friend who has allowed me this beautiful gift. Very grateful. Um, and yet, in modern technology, we can sit online and continue this. We've got other friends coming out, and this weekend we're going yet to another location. Mosquitoes are biting me, so I might end up getting up and walking in. I'm a mosquito magnet, unfortunately, and
Coffee coffee grinds. Take coffee grinds, like fresh coffee grinds, put them in a bowl, set it on fire.
we've actually been saving our coffee grounds for that reason in Maine and letting them dry
Yep.
back out again. And
And vanilla. Vanilla.
vanilla. And I've also heard, I saw a little homemade bug zapper where you put the coffee grounds in and you put them, they used a clay pot to do this, and
Yes.
and then they put lemon slices and lime slices around. So when it heats up, it also adds the citrus smell. So,
Yes. Yes. And isn't that the beauty of technology that we can find all of these resources and the next step, taking action. And I think that such a perfect way to start this conversation because divine timing, right? We put our requests out to the universe, the one something that makes it possible for all of the planets to, like, they're up there.
yes.
And we are stuck here, beautifully stuck, and I mean stuck by, like, gravitational pull is holding us down. Our bodies don't just, like our bones don't just, like, pop out everywhere and float away. It's amazing, and with this body, we can combine with spirit, get that idea, and begin taking action while allowing allowing the universe to bring us what we want in divine timing. Wait for
Right.
it.
That's a very important piece of it. I am actually going to pick up and move because I am such a mosquito magnet that it's, you guys will be watching me slap myself through this whole thing. So I'm just going to go sit in
Yeah,
this
right. And
beautiful.
that and that,
I mean, my friend has this beautiful cabin. It's going to get dark for a minute, but then I'm going to go sit in the light. Um,
oh,
she
look at that.
she has a beautiful cabin, which of course I'm sun blind at the moment because there we go. Um, we have it all drawn up for so it stays cool and we don't have to use
Yeah.
air conditioning. It's supposed to be in the 80s today. So yes, divine timing. Um, and it's an amazing opportunity when we look at what we're offered and don't anticipate the next step. That's a part of learning about divine timing. I mean, I have this amazing opportunity to be here. Um, an amazing opportunity to go with, let's use a different word. You're an author, stunning, extraordinary. Opportunity to go on this retreat this weekend. It's going to be a little warm, and we're actually renting a camper to go to the campground so that, especially my one friend and I, we're in our 60s and we want to sleep comfortably at night. And my friend that owns this, we also want to sleep comfortably at night. And so, and then I have an opportunity again. A friend who lives in Montana is coming to visit. So, I mean, timing is always divine. And sometimes
Yes.
when we switch our focus to that, every moment is the miracle. You know, what a miracle
Oh,
this is. It's an extraordinary that I have a husband at home who's sitting with the dogs who every morning come out and go look for me in the we have a camper on our property that has my office and it's also our guest house. Um, it's an old camper that we renoed, and they run to the door every morning thinking I'm inside there. And he's like, "Nope, she's still not there," you know. Um,
oh,
so I'm feeling really, really blessed. We did a tarot card pull yesterday, and my lovely, amazing tarot cards. These cards she ordered for her son, who's very artistic. You actually color them and then write what the meaning is. Would you like me to send you the link?
yes, please. I'll add it to
Okay.
my not this month request. And it's interesting because I began coloring much more. I have some coloring books that I ordered when I was very frustrated with the situation of my mom and her mental change, physical change, and I felt out of control. And I had to accept that I was out of control. There was nothing I could do about the situation at the time. And it was 2 days before a wedding that I was going to. So I ordered all these gorgeous coloring books, and they're these empowering coloring books with the colorful language, F bomb, the every bomb. And then one of them was available for download. So I downloaded it, made copies, and then I'm giving it to people. So I gave Daphne one that says, "Do epic shit." First thing that she noticed was that there were 2 shovels. Oh, we had such a laugh, right? We just had
Hmm.
a chuckle because you want to grow something, you dig out the dirt, you plant the seeds, you do all that. Wonderful. So for you to mention coloring cards, I'm like, "Yes."
And
Right?
they're beautiful.
Yes.
The tarot and the book that comes with it is really liked it. It's very deep, but it's simple. And sometimes when you do tarot cards, they get really convoluted and they have a couple readings. So we did one of the spreads that were there, and it was really quite interesting and beautiful to see how her son didn't, but there were patterns he had done and he had noticed, and just the colors he chose for some of the cards. And what he did was, interestingly enough, he colored them before they were labeled what they were afterwards. So it was very
Oh,
intuitive, the colors he picked for it without the words. And then they went back and
oh.
matched them to, yeah. So I think you'll like, I will send you, you know, the link.
Well, there's
And
there's such
it's so funny. You're
beauty in
talking about
that.
2 shovels. I was thinking, well, your ride or die friend. You're going to help me bury the body, right? That's where I went with the 2 shovels.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, right? Absolutely.
Yeah.
When I was at my, dear friend's wedding, I, printed a, very beautiful message, and I, printed the message off my speech on, the cards, the 4 by 6 cards and beautiful album, and then I gave him a shovel. It was a children's shovel, and it said "Family First" on it. And it
Uh-huh.
was just this beautiful, beautiful, joyful expression. And when we have the trauma of people that come together to help us during our most challenging times, that's when they will do anything to get to you. They will hop on a plane. They will bury that project, right? They will do whatever needs to be done. Like it's like, yeah, coming in today. Actually, not coming in for 2 weeks. You can call me tomorrow. I'm getting on a plane. Click. And when we realize how special they are, they're like butterflies. They're just butterflies. We can't touch the wings all the time. and we just allow it to be. It's very, very special.
Mhm.
Yeah, very, very special. So I noticed a few of my clients reached out to me yesterday, commenting about how tired they were, and I've been pulling rest cards for over a week.
Yeah, s definitely the stars. There's a lot of sparking of energy. Some people call it seismic, some people talk about the lava flow. It's just a lot of energy, a lot of transformative energy. Scorpio has been very busy with Mars, and it has been very much in the continuum, though, with Taurus of comfortable with change, digging out, stabilizing yourself. And today, this Capricorn moon is going to be a big moon that comes this Sunday, really Saturday night. And it's a blue moon because it's an astrological blue moon. It's the second moon in the same sign in a row within the period. So that's what makes it a blue moon. And because Saturn is retrograde, Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn energy. Saturn, which is in Pisces about flow, it is kind of pushing the flow forward, inward, pushing things out. And some of the time to get things out, you need to rest. You need to see what they are so you don't become overwhelmed by them. Your body can process. And it's experiencing how this metamorphosis is very internal in our structures, and that's what Capricorn is about, our bigger structures, who we are. um, and there's going to be today, as a really interesting, there's an opposition with our moon and Jupiter in Gemini, about our experience. And that continuum is all about our imagination, how we think. So our will has been kind of churning things in this last couple days forward. We've had a lot of energy with Pluto transforming what the vision is, our Mars energy pushing on Uranus, or Uranus, however you want to say it. Let's giggle like a 5-year-old boy. Uranus. Which is great awakening, but it's chaotic. So it's very, very tiring. And then today, this is about, we've dug out of things out of our imagination. And Gemini is about our kind of cultural norms. And Sagittarius, what the moon is in, is about our self truths and our self intelligence. They're a continuum, but they're still about focusing on imagination, change, what is beyond our understanding. That's a lot for the body to process. It just is. And
It
so
really is.
that's the purpose of getting ready for this moon, is to dig that out so that you can restructure what works more for you. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people are starting to add in something like, I'm really tired, so I got to make sure I get some meditation time in, or a walk in, or something. I'm being told to move this energy through. It's very funny to me. Last night we sat outside. I hardly got bit. They were buzzing my head, and that's usually a bad time. In that 5 minutes I was out there with you this morning, I got like 8 bites. So, the
Incredible.
time
I
is
remember using I remember using pickle juice on nights. I don't know. I don't know, pickle juice. I don't know. Canada with our Caesars, which again is
yes.
Mott's Clamato juice with vodka and a whole bunch of yummy stuff. So it's like a little bit in the drink, a little bit on the body. So I don't know which is it, whether was it the internal pickling, the external pickling. I don't know. But when we get that itch, it's like what you were talking about. When we've got something inside of us that wants to be expressed, if we just keep on stuffing it down and stuffing it down and stuffing it down, eventually we can really become quite combustible. And I'm finding right now, summer months, I had my tea and tarot on Tuesday night last night, and one of the ladies there, lovely lady, she's doing 3 people's jobs right now, 2 others. And this is summer season. We're all going on vacation. So this is just the way that it needs to be. And I spoke to another morning, and the workload that's piled on her is tremendous. And her manager is chastising her for working extra hours. And yet wants to know when it's going to get done. And if you can't manage it on your own, let me know. That's painful. Do
Mhm.
more, do it well. What's taking you so long? Stop working so hard. Like it's just this, and to
Y
stop and pause.
Mhm. Stop and pause
Yeah.
and look at what your values are, and
Mhm.
it might be, "No, I'm not going to get this done. No." It and the shame when somebody says, "Well, if just let me know if you can't get this done," that we tend to do, like, "Oh, I don't wanna admit that." Admit it. Not only don't I can't I get it done, but I don't want to. It is also
This is
summer.
no, this
Yeah,
is not feasibly possible. This is summertime, right?
yeah.
There is a beauty in that because spending time with friends, family, doing the things that you enjoy are beautiful. And I mean, I was at a barbecue on Sunday and it was my grand dog, my fur baby, my fur grand doggy's birthday. It was his 5th birthday. What a fun time. I mean, one lady made a doggy pie, a doggy cake. And when she told me the ingredients and she started cutting it into pieces, I'm like, does everyone get a piece? And she's like, for the dogs. I'm like, oh, all the ingredients were edible for people, right? Like I was the only one who asked for a piece. Go
So,
figure.
this is completely an aside, but in life, I have a question I developed over many years to ask people was, "Did you ever eat dog food?" There is a plethora of people who ate dog food. Now, it never occurred to me to eat the kibbles, ever, ever, ever. But it's like when you ask them, they go, "Oh yeah." I had a boyfriend who told me that he was. They were all lots of boys in the family. And they were very, they were like 6'7", 6'5", big guys. And he's like, "Yeah, I used to sit there." He was the youngest of them, and I'd sit on that bag of kibble and just be chomping away because it wasn't. My mom said, "You're eating us out of house and home." But it's a very interesting question to gather. How many people have tried dog food? Have you?
I had 3 rescue dogs. I've never tried dog food, and I'd had 3 dogs, and I had a jar on the table with their treats in it. My kids knew it was the dog treats because they helped me raise the dogs. Their father did not know. And I was cooking in the kitchen and busy doing my thing. And I turned and I'm like, he was halfway through. What could I say? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. The kids came, it was dinner time. They walked in, they looked at dad, and they're all like, and I'm like, nothing. Just let it go. Right. So many people in my life have had dog treats for that reason. And I then I the jar, dog treats. Um,
No, if you ask that question, you will find there's a whole group of people as children, they ate dog food. They just tried it and,
remember
you know
remember the cans during the weddings, part of the ritual of the for the bride and groom was to give them a box full of cans and all the labels were torn off or to go into their cupboard and take all the labels off. Cat food. I mean, I didn't eat it, but oh yeah, I knew what that
Yeah,
smelled
no,
like. I
that
didn't know.
most of them clarified that it was dry food, like dog biscuit, not the wet food, that's nasty. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and
Well,
now that there's raw food, my one sister's dog raw food, which are round pucks in the freezer. They look like burgers to me. I never ate one. I mean, I know because I've fed the dogs before. Raw food, dogs that are getting only vegetables. Our world has transpired into so much because there was a contrast. I don't like the way my dog's health is. I want to improve my dog's health. And then along came an idea. And some of us are manifestors and some of us are generators. And there's a whole bunch of other terms when it comes to human design.
mhm.
Because I'm pure manifesting generator, it means I got a lot of ideas. Like, oh my God, generate, I can make anything happen. And I can become exponentially exhausted if I try it all. So, waiting in divine timing for the universe to bring me a piece of the puzzle so I know which puzzle to work on has been a game changer for me. Game changer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
um, and you need to be careful because some people, I like that. I have to look up my human design again. I was just thinking, what was my human design? Um, with the dog food, because I had a friend who had a specialty breed, and they did all of the, and then eventually they weren't giving the dog enough protein, and the dog ended up
Yes.
dying at 3 because it developed heart issues. So not everything that says it's healthy in somebody's idea. I mean, dogs are dogs, and they ate meat in the wild.
Very much.
So
Very
yeah,
much so. It's so important. And if you can connect with your animal's energy, connect with an animal connector who can connect with your dog's energy, they can help guide you to what your dog's body is asking for. I don't do that.
yes,
I will energetically work with animals. I'll use the scalar wave energies. I'll use the Bach flower essences. When I need someone to connect with an animal, I reach out to Daff. I'm like,
I'm
that's
about to say
yours.
I had a friend. We had to reach out to Daphne because well, yes, you were in the group. You were
Yes,
the yes,
yes.
and
And
um,
she's like Dr. Doolittle, but for the well, yeah, she is
Doctor
Dr.
Doolittle,
Doodle in my world.
do
Yeah,
Doolittle,
world.
which I always thought
Doolittle,
was so
right?
funny.
Right?
So
Doolittle. And I mean, I was just watching Divine Timing a few nights ago in my quiet time, no phones, no books, because that's the rule. Uh, Ralph and I were watching a movie together, and we were watching the new one that has Eddie Murphy in it. And oh, I just laughed and laughed. And then last night he was going through the channels, and along came Beverly Hills Cop. I'm like, oh, please, 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 please. I loved Eddie Murphy. Oh, he made me laugh. There was so much joy in what he did, the music that he created, the movies that he created, and to connect with that old memory of who he was and now who he is, and yet that's all him. That's all Eddie Murphy, and yet we only get to see a glimpse of who he is because we only get that TV.
mhm. Well, we did. Spending time with things that make you laugh is important. We did that yesterday. We had a very big down day. It was beautiful out. We were in and out. And when we weren't, we watched comics, and it was hysterical just to sit there
Yeah,
and laugh and rest and experience. Again, I do believe when we let go for divine timing and really let go,
yep.
what we can
Hmm.
fill the time with is joy. We
For
we
sure.
put
And
something
when
outside of us to be important. And if I just say, it's going to happen in the time it's going to happen, then so what can I do
yeah,
now? Oh, I can have a good time.
pivot, change, pivot, change, pivot, change. And when you put a request out to the universe, it doesn't have to be a formal dissertation.
Hmm.
It doesn't have to
Yeah.
be said the certain way. I mean, I've got blankets in the back of my car because they're going to be moving to my trailer. And oh, I really wish I had a chair, just a chair for my car, not a chair that's on my patio, not a chair that's in my trailer, a chair for my car. So when I pull over on the side of the road, if I want to read, I've got a chair. I have to work on my lower back pain. And the way I can do that is to surrender that sometimes I need to sit in a chair and then find it, and then there's my pain moves to discomfort, my discomfort moves to ease. I went to a networking event yesterday. There was a scavenger hunt. I was talking with somebody and enjoying the tour of the facility. I didn't see the stuff on the scavenger hunt. And I'm quite competitive, so I like to win, and I won by having a great conversation. At the end, there was a draw. Everyone put their business cards in. I had my last business card in my purse. I put it in, and I won a chair. River City blue chair. Oh, I was so happy. And it's so I love winning because I win with it. Like, I mean, I'm like, woohoo, that's me. And it felt just
Quiet and subtle, right?
always quiet and subtle.
Yeah. Yeah, like a brick.
That was divine
Um,
timing, though. That was divine.
yeah,
Yeah.
very much.
Huh.
Very much. Um, and when you accept divine time, you have a better understanding of your own time, in the
Yes.
moment, like, I really don't want to do this. And you go back and forth. And when you're accepting divine timing, all of a sudden you can go, if you really don't want to do it, it's okay just to not do it,
Mhm.
depending who you are, because you're accepting there's a reason why this energy is coming to me that I don't want to do this. And without, other than I'm sabotaging myself, um, it's the same idea. If I can just wait with this and do what it's asking me to do, things come in the time they're meant to come. There's a reason
Yes.
I don't want to go because something else may be coming, and when I made the commitment, it was real, but, and no, you know,
Mhm.
um, so that's kind of looking at divine timing. That's another nudge from the universe,
Oh, it
that,
is.
and so if I can pay attention when it's right in front of me, it gets easier to do the waiting. Okay, I'm going to put it out there because you'll nudge me. It's
Mm.
it's a different development. I just read friend wrote a book. I really like it. Um, I can't wait to read your book. Um, and what I liked about it is she told a lot about awakening, meeting your higher self, but she told it in a story form.
Ugh.
Um, and there's a whole component about financial success. And when you're first awakening, just having something told to you in a story, and there's some real techniques in there that she weaves in for the character to do. And
Oh,
it
I love
allows you, without somebody saying, you need to do that, and be so in your own head to go, oh, that's kind of interesting. How does that apply to me? Versus I'm looking for how it applies to me. I really enjoyed looking at this approach differently. I really did, very much. The story. I like the main character who you know, isn't uncovering that she was Cleopatra in another life, not to downplay that. She's just trying to figure out what is it in me that is asking me to look at things differently. And so it's kind of
Mhm.
the story of how she goes about doing this. And it is taking time, and it is about divine timing. As a matter of fact, one of the characters she's meeting, that I'm not going to give away the ending, that turns out to be a different thing, often when she asks a question doesn't answer it because it's not the right time, and she talks about that in there. You'll get this when you're ready to understand it. So I really enjoyed the book. It's called The Abundant Soul.
The
So
abundant soul. Wow.
mhm,
Wow. Reminds me of Paulo Coelho's writing.
yeah, it's a very nicely written story. It's of how the character has, like many of us, a life crisis that spurs on the journey. And because it always, life crises make us ask the question, is this all there is?
Mhm.
You
And
know,
that's it too. Is this all there is? And sometimes the question needs to be a little bit stronger in that, is this what I want
right.
for
That's
the rest of my life or even the next year, 6 months, 3 months, 1 month, 1 week? When I help people understand the opportunities that they have to create in their lives and how that is their career, purpose
mhm,
is creation. What are you
yeah,
creating in your life? Sometimes when you understand that if this is what you do for 8 hours a day. You're married to the job. This is your work husband, your work family.
Yeah.
Are they expecting too much of you? Are they demanding you? I needed to say to a friend, this is abuse, love, about a job. And one of the men that she was working with. This is abuse. Abuse of power is abuse.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah. What we accepted at one time as something that was fun or whatever, that is about stealing somebody else's autonomy, stealing someone else's. I was, I went to a Big Ten school, football school, and there was at the time, there was something they would call passing up. And what it was if a girl went to the bathroom, especially a small, cute little girl, went to the bathroom or anything, the rather drunk group of guys that were in the student section would pick her up and pass them over their head up the stadium bleachers. And, obviously most people didn't want to be passed up, but it was a thing. And the university was really having to work on, this is just not okay. And of course they got groped on the way up, or people would
Oh,
say, oh,
for
don't
sure.
fight him. But people would say, oh, if you fight him, then that's when you're going to get hurt. It shouldn't be
Mm,
happening. Again, abuse of power. Just because you
exactly.
can doesn't mean you should. And that you have to
Oh,
go. Girls would like lock arms to go to the bathroom. Um,
oh,
and it had become this accepted practice, and that I'm hoping it doesn't still happen. The university had to become involved. This is a Big Ten school, a school of 30,000 undergrads, and people who sometimes got
wow.
hurt, yeah, and
Well, in the conversation, how did she let that happen? Well, for God's sake, she didn't let it happen. It happened to her.
mhm,
What we were blaming the victim instead of breaking
right.
down the situation
But to
to see
understand
where
that that is a
fault was.
kind of abuse. You're taking a sovereign being who is walking for your pleasure and thinking it's funny and turning it into, oh, if you didn't want to be passed up, you wouldn't walk on your own. Really?
There was a Jodie Foster. Jodie Foster was in a movie quite a few years back. Brutal, brutal thing that happened to her character in this movie. And I've watched it a few times. It's been a long time since I've seen it. I can't remember the name. And the different responses that I would get from people. Oh, she asked for it. And I'm just like, what? Because she was in a bar and wearing
Hmm.
a shirt that would have been similar to my shirt, Kitty, except it was low cut. And she was playing pool. So she asked for it because she was drinking. It is. It's this. If this was a man, would we have the same reaction? If this was a child, would we have the same reaction? If this was an elder, would we have the same reaction?
Hmm.
Ask ourselves, really? Oh, Nancy, we don't not talk about those conversations. Well, if Nancy's here, we do. I just ask questions.
Well, and
Think
and
about it.
yeah, it's hard to tap into joy if you have to worry about somebody, like in this case, picking you up while you're walking. Well, you know
Mhm.
better not to walk. What what world did you think that that was okay? That you have to worry about, you're at a football game, you
Yeah.
know? And again, when I let my timing be whatever spirit wants, those are the things that when they happen to us, we go, huh, this is a societal thing. It's interesting because today is one of the things where we look at things that society are believed to be cultural and fun. Look at how many of those things have shifted, you know? And
Oh,
yes, I do think so. Yeah.
the the running of the bull, right?
Yeah.
Behaviors that are crowd driven that cause harm are
Yeah.
changing. There as there's not as many people lining up to do that action because those actions cause great harm. When you're thinking about, I had a conversation with a dear friend, and I says, "Oh, I wish we had spoken 6 months ago. I would have recommended living health insurance for you. Living health insurance is insurance that will benefit you if you are injured, hospitalized while you are alive, right? Because that's when you get injured and hospitalized, as opposed to life insurance, which pays when you're dead." Because she gotten into a terrible car accident and she is struggling to pay her bills, waiting. Oh, insurance will take care of that. When? When? So in that interim time, living health insurance would pay you. What?
Mhm.
So that's so much of what I do is I offer people solutions. I'm like, I don't do this. My dear friend does. May I start a conversation? It's like you. May I start a conversation with you and Kitty for a reading? My friend Serinda, who did my human design, may I start a conversation with Serinda? She does
Yeah.
human design. I know what my picture looks like. I learned a lot. I'm going to get a report from her, which is amazing because I like reports because then I get to play. And play. Oh my gosh, Kitty, play, 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 play. Are you having fun, Nance? If I'm not having fun, pivot because I can
Mhm.
find fun in anything until I'm too diligent.
Right.
Yep.
Right. Very, very much so. Um, but part of that is you do trust divine timing now. You do.
Have
You
to.
practice it every single day. This is the timing that it's going to be. And that allows us so much. If I let go of me being in charge, what do I have? I got lots of time for joy, lots of time for fun, lots of time to learn about myself. And, I was laughing today because someone posted a meme about how only they think they can clean it and then they complain about that nobody's helping them. And
Oh,
I've had,
Ralph reminds me of
yeah,
that.
I I've had that friends that I do not own that characteristic. If you want to, you do you, and you need to clean. You know,
Come on over to my place. And I'm like, I'm
yeah.
not cleaning your house.
Who am I to
I
stop you?
tidy I tidy and organize. It's very much a part of I reorganized my entire bookshelf and I was trying to find a book. So I expected Ralph to be away for 2 days. He came home early than expected. I didn't get a text message. And I was organizing my books, which meant the entire dining room table, the island, everywhere. Because I had a pile and I would walk around and I would categorize them. Author, but they had to go into author piles before they went into subject piles. And because I can only lift one or two books at a time, it took a little bit longer. I worked in a library, Kitty. Organization
Hmm.
of my books is important. When I say, just a second, let me find that book. I need to know what Dewey Decimal System I have it in. My Dewey Decimal System is mine.
Yep.
That's a beautiful thing to own. Me. What
Hmm.
works for me. And I love helping people discover that. Like, what self-care plan do you have for yourself in the evening? They're like, evening self-care? Didn't we just figure out morning self-care? Let me guess, there's after self-care too. I'm like, well,
Well, y- yes, and it doesn't have to be huge or disruptive, or it might just be a 5-minute break to go. Where just check in with myself today. You know,
yeah.
so that I can let go and not, how many times in meditation have lists started to appear in my head? about what I'm going to do next when I'm done with meditation. I'm like, uh-oh, there's that future living piece again.
Yeah.
And so I
Yeah.
say to my friends out there who can only clean it themselves and feel good about it, knock yourself out until you don't need to do that anymore. I'm going to let you be you. Because I used to fight them
Yeah.
and say no, and then I would feel bad. But that wasn't on me. If you don't like the way I clean, you know, um,
Mhm.
I can let anybody clean personally.
Oh,
And
anybody
if I
can
don't,
come into my not
yeah.
complain about that.
And if you do,
I've had
and if I don't like it, guess what I'll do is I'll clean behind them, but I won't complain that they didn't clean it right.
oh
So,
gosh, no. No, 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 no. I had one time in my life, I mean, I've got a 1,000-ish square foot condo. Love it.
mm,
I had an 8,000 square foot house, 5 kids, dogs, birds, bunnies, no chickens, and I needed help. And I mean, it took me years before I was allocated help. And I mean, I had help in a 2-person cleaning team that would come in and would take 8 hours just for like basic. And I loved it. Oh my gosh, I loved how they would rearrange my bathroom a little bit. I loved that, and they were so grateful allowed that because some people need to have their things put back exactly where they are. And we're not
mhm.
talking someone that struggles with sight, that someone that just needs their structure. And I'm like, "No, just don't touch my books."
Just don't touch my books. Right. Right. They're different. They're just, we all have our different boundaries and understandings of things. And as you know, since you have 5 children or have, at least you do care about when they go somewhere, what do they do? Because that is a reflection in my head on me. Now, it's not really a reflection what my son Ian does if he's a guest at somebody's house. But darn it, I know I wanted you to think, pick up your stuff, that kind of stuff. You know, uh, yeah, just allowing whatever's unfolding to unfold, including you do you. Thank you, Daphne. You do you. And I don't have to
Yeah.
all I have is my response to it. And um, I, I don't understand. One of the things I've really come to understand is as soon as I go down the road, I think I know why somebody's doing something, well, he's doing that because I stop myself and say, and I make myself say out loud, I have no idea why they're doing that. I'm not even sure
Mm-mm,
why I do
no.
everything.
And you often say, my business, other people's business. What do you say about
My own
that?
business is barely my business.
Yes, my own
You know,
business
my
is
own
barely.
life is my own life is barely my business, let alone somebody else's, you know.
That's it too. That's it too. Angie and I went to junior high together, and we kindled our friendship within the last 5 years, and it's been such a blessing. Angie has 7 children, I think. Again, I can't keep track of how many children. I remember that her one daughter does escapades on a boat. So like she skates on ice on a boat. That took me a while to wrap my head around. I'm like, on a boat? Like how? 7. There we go. Yeah, 7. And like 7. Wow. And I mean, I had 5 plus. I had all the bonus kids, the kids that stayed over, and there was never a worry about having your child behave in my home because they knew to behave. And my children knew that if there was a phone call that I had to come and get them because they
Yes.
misbehaved.
Yeah. But my son, and I definitely knew that as a child when my dad went to a parent teacher conference, that what the teacher could say about me paled or do to me paled in comparison to what would happen at home, and
Absolutely.
but when it becomes an
Absolutely.
adult, all bets are off, you know. They make
Well,
their own
and
decisions.
that's exactly it. Like Andy just put down 2 children. So 7 children plus 2 grandchildren. And once our children become parents, it's it's that divine timing of us being grandparents, and how do we adult with our children? They can
Yeah.
parent, like massive change, massive shift,
Well,
and then
what
grace, love, and compassion.
well, and as I do synastry charts, which are a lot of people use them for people they love, but it's very interesting to do children and their parents because when children are young, when you look at the
Yes.
charts, it's about the parents' house is where the conversations take place. As they age, the area of the chart is about both of theirs. And then there's a switch at some point where it becomes about the child's house, where the conversation takes place as the parent. And especially if you have an interesting dynamic in that particular area in your life, that's why sometimes we see parents who way overstep because their houses are in a lot of times it's a control thing about the house that they have natally. And learning that allows you to go, oh, this is one of those activation areas. And it's really about their house now. I am going to their area of life to have this conversation. They are not coming to mine. That's a big switch for parents. Very big.
Oh my, it's very big. I know I love giving surprises to people. And with grandchildren, I can't just run across the street or the city. They're not here. My one granddaughter is, and I will collect gifts and I'll put them in a box and and I'll do that. She's only months of age. With my old grandchildren, 2 and 5, I am very consciously aware that they may not deserve that gift today.
Yeah.
You don't just get a present from Nona. You exist.
Yeah.
I'll save it. Oh, you didn't behave today at school. Yeah. Okay. And I won't say I had a present for you and you're not going to get it unless I'm really bent out of shape because it's happened a few times where not well, obviously. But it's happened a few times where I'm in Kelowna and I'm just like, you know, Sonny, I've got 5 presents for you in my bedroom. I've been collecting them and I was going to give them to you over the last days and you didn't get one because you couldn't behave. And I want to give you a present. Can we try for please?
Right. And it's not about it's not about earning it. It's also just respecting this is behaving means you're showing me respect, and gifts are a thing of love, and I love you, and I want to make sure that you understand these are my boundaries here. And just like I don't never took my kid to the store all the time and said, if you behave, I'll get you something. No, you're supposed to behave. If you get something,
Oh
it's
yeah.
not related to it. I'm feeling more
I allowed my
generous.
I allowed my children to pick a vegetable. And that was a big deal because they all had their favorites. Like Angie said, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves being parents, especially
Mhm.
in this world right now where there's all these influencers out there making it look like it's sunshine, roses, and happiness. And then along comes the divorce. It's not that. It's not that there aren't people out there who are raising in the most wonderful way. It's that Barbie and Ken mentality. I mean, I don't even know. I mean, the closest thing that my ex-husband and I were to Barbie and Ken would be, oh, Peggy Bundy, Alan Peggy Bundy.
Oh, yeah.
Like that. That was it. And I
Well,
mean,
and it
understanding.
right, and it is, we do put a lot of pressure on ourselves being parents, and we put a lot of pressure on our kids about being kids,
Oh,
and, what is it gonna mean? That's the joy of grandparenting because you go, you can just be a little more relaxed, you know? Um,
mhm.
and, again, do I teach what I want to remember is what do I wanna teach my children, my grandchildren? Joy, happiness. that doesn't mean you get to tell people how they're going to be happy, or you get to behave miserably and assume it's going to be okay with me. You know, I was definitely that teacher. I mean, I spent lots of years with children where I got your back, we're going to have a good time as long as we're respectful of each other. But the minute I remember saying to a couple of kids, how many times do you think I've said your name today? And they'll go, oh, probably too many, Mrs. Foss. I'm like, okay, what can we do? And I'd be sitting there talking to them, not necessarily in front of the whole group. What do you think we can do about it? Do you like me saying your name all the time? And one little boy said, well, do you like saying my name all the time? I said, not particularly. He goes, yeah, I like it
Yeah.
better when you call me honey or dear. Honey, can you go get that? And I said, well, yeah, because that is about joy. And we're having, and I don't expect anybody to be perfect. I'm not perfect. I expect you to own it or pay attention to, you know. I, so eventually I ended up saying to children, do you think you're being the problem or the solution? And if they look at me and I said, no, what do you think? And he's like, problem. I said, so can you do to be the solution? Is there something I can do to help you be it? Or, I mean, so that we can go back to learning together and doing all of those things. And I, um, there are things that I learned with my son and from being a teacher that I'm grateful for, and other things sometimes I listen to him and say, and I went, ooh, you're never not a parent, but it is interesting when you study when it becomes about their house. That has helped me go, let me let go of this. This is about this area of life, even though it's about this area for me, and trying to keep that special and understanding that when I was younger, I could have kind of squashed a couple things. But anyway, hey, it's 11 o'clock. We've only been on 52 minutes, but we started a little bit late.
It's
Unbelievable.
absolutely beautiful. It really is. Like our conversations, they flow with such
Mhm.
beauty and grace and ease. I love
Well,
that. I
I look
truly
forward
love
to the
that.
next one. I do. I do.
I hope
It won't be next Wednesday, so everybody know that we're going to skip a week. Um,
yeah,
and then I'll be back in Maine. So what would that day be? 27th, 28th is Sunday. 31st, July 31st. The last day of July, we'll be
wow.
back together. So,
Isn't that neat? Just even imagining that last day of July. Wow.
yep.
I love the flow of summer and how well it goes.
Mhm.
Um,
It is
I'm there
divinely
with
timed, you know?
there with Anna. I really am. I have my who's calling me?
Well,
I have to
there's the
decline.
magical ding
Um,
to say that we say goodbye.
Definitely. Well, definitely, and we will because I've got 4 different devices. My one phone will not turn on or off. No, it won't turn off, so I can't reset it to sync with my new phone, because I had to turn on my new phone, but I couldn't sync it with anything, so I've only got limited stuff on that. So now I've got my iPad with me and my phone in case things and I'm accepting of it. I'm like, how great is it that I could sync my phone with my iPad so I would be able to have some accessibility? Use my laptop for work. Big
Right.
change.
Well, I'm on my phone. I'm not usually on the phone, so you're going to send me the recording. Usually, I share this out on my computer. My
I
friend
I
brought
sent
her.
I sent it to Intuition on of the Soul while we were talking because I'm like, I
Oh,
want
thank you,
everybody to. You're
thank you.
welcome. You're welcome.
Um,
So yes, we'll see you on Wednesday, 2 weeks from now. I am sending you the picture of my barn home. I can see it crystal clear, so maybe you will go there.
all right. See you
And
later.
if you're there, say hello to Beth.
I will. I shall. Okay. I'm sending Beth
Thank
hello
you.
right now. So, all right.
Right.
Take care,
Okay.
Nance. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.